There we are.
Bam!
We are
just
live.
like that, we're lit up.
Hey guys, it's Leah and Michelle, Resistance Chicks. Welcome back.
Welcome back to
Resistance Chicks. We're going to Germany. I say nein, das ist not gut. That means, nah, it ain't good, man. It's not looking good. Merkel. So before we get right into this, our mom wanted to make sure that we told you guys that the young lady that had the car accident right outside of our house on Friday, we were supposed to go live at 6, and we were a little bit late because it had happened and it was a crazy. You guys can go watch the video. We describe what happened. She is okay. Her husband stopped by yesterday and said that she walked out of the hospital. It is a miracle. Miracles do happen. God's hand was on her. That's the only way that she survived.
Many of you don't know there was an accident. Literally just outside our front door, and a girl wrapped her
car around a telephone pole. When we saw it, we were one of the first responders. I looked at that wreck and I knew no one was walking out of it. Whoever was in that car was dead. And so we witnessed a bona fide miracle. So we wanted to let those of you know who had been with us that were worried, is she okay? She is more than okay. She's sore. She had a fractured nose, a fractured eye socket, and a punctured lung. But she walked out of that. She actually said to the Life Squad, they air cared her from our local high school. And she's like, isn't that expensive? Can't we just, or at first she said, can I go home? And they're like, no, you have to go to the hospital. And then they said, we're going to air care you. And she's like, isn't that expensive? Can't you just drive me? So she sounds like an adorable gal. So we're praising God here at Resistance Chicks for an amazing miracle. What is not so much miracle is what's happening in Germany today. Miracle, we're all still here. It's 24th. Nobody is gone. The rapture did not happen. The end of the world did not. Nothing imploded.
I am here.
We are here.
I'm here.
I've seen this a couple times. I'm stealing this from other people, but I would like to say Michelle survived the apocalypse of September 23rd, 2017. Still here. So I'm very happy about that. I'm happy to be here with you guys. Leah and I are both happy to be here with you. So now let's go to Germany, where we can't quite be as happy.
All right, so you know what? Actually, we can be very happy because the AFD is polling fairly high for a brand new party. Paul Joseph Watson just tweeted out. I mean, they could get upwards of 10%. They could get 13%, which is huge. Yeah. For a brand new party. Yep. Pretty much, and so it's pretty exciting for them. Patriot Gallery, our mom. She was trying to do some video research for us prior to the launching of this episode. So we would be up to date. And she said, "It's all propaganda." I can't. And so I came up with my own thing and my own spin on the German election, because truly, anything that I found on the AFD, anything that I found, there was nothing anti-Merkel. Nobody was anti-Merkel. Everyone loves Merkel, it seems, on all media forms. Not the people on Twitter, and the people don't like her. Because I'm going to show you a video where she's booed. But the German government has such a stranglehold on what gets out, on media, on worldwide media. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay, so I thought this pretty much said it all. And we dictate what you think, we dictate your laws, we dictate who you let in, we are the dictators.
Brexit, Nexit, Dexit, Frexit, it'll exit.
And as Amera exits, I highly support national sovereignty. And Donald Trump, there's one thing that I just took away from his speech to the EU, where he slapped him around to the UN. The UN. Too many. Good job, Nancy. Too many unions.
Good thing you have Maxine to help.
There's too many unions going on. There's NATO. There's NAFTA. I get those mixed up. It's just too many things. It's keep us all confused. By the way,
Horatio says the German government has had plenty of experience with controlling the media.
Yeah, they're pretty good at that. So I just want to. At first, I want to show you the this. I want to show you this. Yes. This is Merkel's wonderful welcome here. You can see how this is not just a small crowd. This reminds me, honestly, of Hillary Clinton. She is Hillary Clinton. They're both sociopaths. They don't recognize how badly they are hated.
Yeah.
No one actually loves Merkel except for the migrants.
Right.
And while they're booing, I'm going to let them boo for a while. It's a 2-minute booing, and we're just going to continue on.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So while we're watching the booing, did you know, maybe you guys probably did know this, and I had heard about this, but Patriot Gallery was telling me a little bit more. They call her, and she loves to be called Mutti, M-U-T-T-I, which is mother. And there's a symbol, and she uses the symbol, and I guess she used it for her, for her campaign. And even in one of these articles I have here, she said, yeah, I don't always get everything right, but I hope that the German people will always come back to their Mutti.
No, she did not say
their
that.
Mother.
No.
Do you understand the psychosis that you have to think that you are mother to a country? No, honey.
You didn't birth Germany.
An elected official. She's like, I didn't have any children, so I consider all the migrants coming in my children. I consider them... No. Guess what? Adults don't need mummies.
Maybe,
no one
maybe
needs
someone
a
does.
mommy. The only
know.
adult I know who needs a mommy is Macron. Okay? He carries his mommy around and sleeps with her. That's what he does. And maybe he does it because everybody says he's gay.
Give people that visual.
Right. So the only, So Angela Merkel gets mercilessly booed for the 10th time in a row in Germany. That was put out by the Voice of Europe. We're going to play another one.
This is fun.
Here again, she is whistled at and booed.
Not whistled like, hey, fine lady. Not that kind of whistling.
No.
She ain't getting that.
No. So she's really hated. She really is really hated. Actually, there was a poll that came out, I just read it, where 68% of Germans want a new chancellor. They don't feel like they can vote for the AfD, and I really think that they have shot themselves in the foot a couple times. But they do let pretty much anybody in, and I think that's what happens with on the right. Somehow the crazies come in. They say things. There's nothing you can do to walk it back. But on the left, they can say the most insane things. And people don't blame the whole entire left. They just blame...
Oftentimes, they don't even blame that person, though. They just let everybody get a free pass.
Exactly.
So for those of you that missed it, it obviously is said that Merkel is pretty much, it's a done deal.
Yes.
She is again.
Gathered in Dresden city centre. In fact, they jeered and whistled at Angela Merkel at one point.
This is RT art.
Does it get any bigger?
The celebrations there.
No.
I think Lizzie Phelan was there too.
Bring it up on YouTube. Bring it up on YouTube.
There you go. Get out. This is great. I love that they put this together like this. She's such a happy person, isn't she? And they're
traitors.
Happy.
Traitors. He had to cover his ears and yelled at the same time.
26 years since reunification, but it seems like this anniversary is just highlighting just how divided Germany is. As you mentioned, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel today is in the city of Dresden for the official celebrations. But Dresden is perhaps the most symbolic city of just how divided Germany is. It is the city where that huge anti-Islam far-right movement Pegida was founded, that over the last couple of years has been bringing thousands out into the streets, including today, where, as you just showed, hundreds of people have been protesting against the German Chancellor Angela Merkel, the German President Joachim Gauck, and other government officials there. They've been chanting against those officials, calling them traitors, chanting that Merkel has to go. Extremely charged protests to the extent that they caused the wife of Saxony's economic minister to burst into tears, reportedly as she walked through those angry
Somebody
crowds.
call the ambulance!
Now, security around these celebrations is extremely high. We've seen in the run-up to these events a couple of incidents of violence, including several days ago, 2 improvised explosive bombs that went off again in Dresden, one at a mosque and one at an international conference center. Luckily, nobody was hurt there, but the police said they believe they were xenophobic attacks.
Xenophobic.
Oh my gosh.
Please
So for those of you that are just joining us and asking, one person said, did Merkel lose? And in like some sort of alternative universe, I would say yes.
Sure.
She lost.
Sure. You know what? Sometimes just tell yourself what you want to believe.
That's right.
Oh,
Merkel
no.
lost. Merkel, no, she won. But here's the thing. Well, the results aren't in yet, but I mean, it's pretty much a done deal. I do have to question if it's got some rigging besides the propaganda, right? Besides the media controlling, can they really brainwash the German people that much? But I mean, it could have been that the Russians
German
could have
people,
hacked.
I'm sorry to say, I love you guys, but you have a propensity to be brainwashed, and I'm going to tell you it's not your fault. It's education.
But don't you think it was yes? But don't you think that the Russians could have, if they could hack our election, that they could have hacked Germany's election, and they probably put Merkel in power? Because they're so powerful at hacking elections.
Considering that the Russians and the Germans hate each other, I'm not exactly sure that's probably a good theory there.
I'm just saying, if they got the power to hack our elections, I think they should have the power to hack, everybody's election. They can control all politics, all political elections. We all know it's now all controlled by Russia.
Okay, so do you guys want to, I don't know if you even want to know how German elections work. It's a little confusing.
Yes, they want to know.
It's a little confusing. I've been trying to figure it out myself. It's kind of like the Netherlands elections. But basically, there's you vote for 2 people. You vote for a chairman, councilman, whatever you want to call them, and then you vote for a party. And
you mean the chancellor?
No, you don't vote for a chancellor.
Okay.
You vote for a representative.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Like we do.
Yes. It can be any party, and then you vote for a party. They can be 2 different parties. And then if the parties, however the parties are broken up, is how many seats you get. And then there's like 598 seats total. I gotta know that one. But you can kind of get a couple extra seats because they try to make it fair, according to how the different percentages are broken
Population,
down.
like we do?
No, the percentage of the votes.
Okay.
Percentage of the votes. So anyways, Angela Merkel is the head of her party, and her party is winning.
So it sounds very much like the UK elections.
Yeah. So then the next party down is the Social Democrats, and that's run by Martin Schulz. Let's see. The election has been seen by many as referendum on the controversial migration policies. I think that's the one thing that everybody seemed to hate. And I'm going to take you to this video. Let's see. Thought I had her out. I thought I had her up. Let's see. Where is she? Okay. So this is a BBC special on the spooky AFD. He goes on to say it feels like horrible in here. These people are horrible pretty much. But just listen.
Posters tell a different story, with barely concealed nationalistic references to German ethnicity and homeland. This may look pretty tame, but it's hard to overstate how radical it feels in the German context to have these kinds of placards, the words Deutschland, Heimat, homeland.
The words Deutschland.
Can't say it.
It's homeland.
Wow.
At a political rally.
This woman gets interviewed
they
in the
want more
end.
sovereignty. They talk about money. Germany's always footing the bill, they say. But most of all, they talk about Islam and immigration. When did you start getting interested in this party?
Oh, it was when Mrs. Merkel opened the borders. Yeah. And it's no longer my country. She thinks she is the queen of Germany or what? I hate her.
Really?
Yes, really.
Tell us how you really feel.
Beatrix von Storck has, in the past, suggested using armed force against child migrants at Germany's borders. I put it to her that her party's posters were dog whistles for neo-Nazi ideology.
We're saying Islam does not belong to Germany, which is a historical fact, and we're making it very clear we don't want to move towards a society which is more and more influenced by Islam. We don't want that. And that, I don't think you can call that the way you just call it. What else do you mean?
Well, you've got two posters out there, for example. You've got one that says, "Our land, our homeland," and then you've got another one that says, "New Germans will make them ourselves," with a very obvious...
That's what Resistance Chicks is always telling y'all.
Yeah.
How is that not hinting at a...
I love her answer here. It doesn't even cross her mind to try to explain away anything because it's not racist.
Much darker slogan from a previous era, which was blood and soil.
No, I think it's very normal what we're saying, and just saying we don't want to have the reproduction of our country done only by others or by migration. What is going on at the moment? So this replacement migration.
And
so simple. It's so simple. We don't want our country, if we're going to,
if we need more people in our country, we'll make them ourselves. We don't have to bring in the migrants to do it for us.
Exactly. And to think that you should is racist and slavery in your mind.
You understand why, given Germany's history, some people are worried about that?
No, I can't. Because you can't ask us to not be linked to our country, or to ask us to, you have to give up your sovereignty, you have to take in migrations, millions and even more millions to come because of your history, you have to give up your culture. No.
Any kind of win for the AfD would be unprecedented for Germany. The first time
BBC really turned this into some depressing...
nationalist party has a presence in the German parliament.
It's so terrible to be a nationalist, you know.
Are not necessarily those who are socially deprived, but those who are anxious of their own social decline. The idea that of voters that they have no influence in politics and that they cannot trust the political establishment in Germany, and there's that the AfD, as the name says, is one real alternative.
The day after the rally, we went to see Jutta Brendel, the woman who hates Angela Merkel, at her home in a commuter suburb of Hamburg. She and her husband once voted for the centre-left. Now they say all the mainstream parties are the same. But she admits her support for the right-wing AfD is not without its qualms about the darkest chapter in German history, the Nazi past.
There are still people in Germany, they have the brown suits in the cellar. Sure.
If you acknowledge that there are people in the AfD, maybe not all, but some, who want to pull the party and who want to pull Germany back in this Nazi direction.
Hey, guess what? Really? The whole EU is the Nazi direction. And so this is the bait and switch.
Exactly.
Call your enemies what you are. Are there some radical people out there who say bad things about different people of different color? Absolutely, you're going to have that. But the one thing that everybody loves to focus on with Hitler is they were saying that he wanted to just create this Aryan race. He wanted to create an Aryan race. Well, he wanted to create... It wasn't just him, okay? You guys, eugenics started here in America. Okay, and Germany literally was the fall guy for all eugenics. We had so many eugenics here. Indiana passed the first eugenics law in the United States. And when the Germans were on the trial, the Nuremberg trials, and they were asked about their sterilization projects, they said, well, we just follow the United States. We called it the Indiana Project. There were so many. We have so many. If you go back, and this is why I talk about compulsory schooling, most of the guys behind the compulsory schooling were eugenics. They believed that they could use schooling to try to kind of put a dunce cap on the undesirables so that they wouldn't find a mate, so they wouldn't breed, which is kind of why you have the different classes in schools, the popular kids, the unpopular kids. It's designed that way. And it's like this basic design. It's like if you design a building and let's say new people come into the building, they didn't design the building, but they still have to operate within the building. So the schooling is the building, and you can have good teachers in there, you can have good principals in there, you can have really good kids in there. But the schooling is the building, and the building blocks are on eugenics, taking away individual rights, creating a collective community that is separated from parental love, separated from family love, so that the state owns the kids, and then the kids become voting blocks and buyers.
Well, I don't remember which
consumers
episode it was that we did. I want to say it was like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, where we covered in detail just how those Nazis that were on trial, that were convicted, they got like 8 months sentencing, something ridiculous.
Some got 7 years, but they came back out.
And then they came out, and they are the founders, literally, of the European Union. And it's something that can't be talked about. We even had viewers that questioned. I'm like, these are facts. We're giving you facts. You're like, no way could the European Union have been founded.
Fast fact, the first president of the European Union was part of the Nazi Party. And if you read his writings, he wanted a European Union. He was part of the Nazi Party. I mean, how do you have... And this is what I've been contemplating on today. And I know many of you know this. If you don't know this, then please continue to watch and to listen, because it just boggles my mind that you have this country, Germany, which has several hundred documented documents, and I'm going to finish her interview, but I can just kind of bring up this article I was reading. I try to bring different articles so you guys are like, oh, she's reading the same thing over and over again. But this one talks about the different United States of Europe. Historians have noted that linguistic constructions such as European Union, European Economic Community, and European Confederation, which fill European media, were first announced as official elements of state policy in the documents of the Third Reich. So if you're kind of called a kook, I guess, over there in Europe, I'm not there, so they're not really calling me a kook. Because I can read the stuff myself. I can't read it all; it's in German, but I can read the translations. And pretty much most of these names, most of these guys, they got their Fourth Reich through the European Union. If you think about it, and I guess our CIA helped as well. But if you think about it, Germany wanted to unite all of Europe so that Germany could go and invade Russia. I mean, Germany was headed into Russia. Germany was going to overtake Russia, which is why our government made a deal with the Bolsheviks, made a deal with the communists to help stop the stem of, Germany into Russia. Unfortunately, now we know Poland got the bad end of that stick. With us working with the Germans or the Russians on that. However, as I was reading through this particular, I mean, so many different documents talk about the European Union and the European ideal that has to do with economic trade, steel, things like that. So it boggles my mind that you have the end of World War II, 1944, and then in the early 1950s. You have this talk, and you've got like I think 6 countries coming together, in the beginning for like a steel union or something, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But the same guys, they're not dead. They're actually, some of them are just getting out of jail. And then there they are. Why is Germany, and all the videos I watched today, Germany leads the EU. Yes. Germany, nothing goes on in the European Union that Germany does not sign off on.
They own it. It's their baby. And that's what we wanted to get to as an establishment for people to understand when she says it, so you can get back to the interview. When she says that, they sell their brown suits in their basement. Here's the thing, guys. Even she in Germany doesn't understand that the European Union really is a rebirth of Nazism and communism.
Because the spin that they have done in your mind and in the mind of people in Europe and across the world, and I hope we can unspin it, is that nationalism and populism are the precursors for Nazism. And that's just not true. People have been loyal to their country for years without desiring to take their country and to infuse their ideas and their whole being into every other country. If Hitler was really into the Aryan ideal, why, as part of his goal, were they, going into Russia? Were they going into France? Were they going into England? Were they going in?
It was strictly based
Austria,
on race. If the white person, with the blue eyes or whatever, was strictly the superior race, why was he still invading people of that superior race?
And he wanted to unite all of Europe, and that was the goal. And the goal, we know, you guys, is IG Farben. They want as many people as they can. They want consumers. They want economics. They want power. They wanted money. And they wanted a people who were easily controlled.
Doesn't that make you feel very uncomfortable?
It does. But you see, I have no other chance in this country to have a voice.
Really?
Really?
He sounds so shocked that she would say, I have no other chance in this country to have a voice. And many of the people are saying, no one got a chance to say, hey, let's bring in everybody in 2015. Let's have open borders, where Merkel, moody mama woman, decided to go ahead and let everyone in. It was very disconcerting, and maybe you guys can show me some links where maybe some Eurosceptics get together. The only other video that I could watch where I saw
in People's Party. So
this is a round table of people from the European Union. There's a man from Poland there. There's a man from Greece there. There's a woman from Ireland there, not to be confused with Northern Ireland, it's part of the UK. Different blocks of the European Union. They pretty much all gang up on the poor Polish guy. But there is... The Polish guy does make some good points where he talks about the fact that Germany rules everything, controls everything, and that the smaller nations don't really have much of a say. And what's interesting is that everyone else around the table seems cool with Merkel. There's one woman who wants more of a say, believes that some of the smaller... they call it... What's interesting is Germany has the power because they have the largest economy. They have the largest economy because they have the most power.
Right.
So, you know what I mean?
What about foreign policy now? If you look at the debate in Germany, for example, Mr. Złotowski, they talked about North Korea. They talked about Turkey a lot. So, do you think that's the right angle? Are you surprised by that angle?
Well, there are no differences between main actors in German campaign, between Social Democrats and Chancellor Merkel, because she still postulates of Social Democrats. For instance, the Ehe für alle, the marriage for all, it was a postulate of Social Democrats, and it was made by Mrs. Chancellor. So she has made CDU as a social democratic party.
But isn't that a smart thing? She's winning all the time.
Yes, and both actors are the same. The debate we could see 2 days ago, it was not a debate, but it was a discussion between a chancellor and her vice-chancellor.
Tanya Fayon, you know Martin Schulz very well, same party. He was the European parliamentarian.
So they're talking about Martin Schulz, and what's the way the Polish guy said was there was no debate. Basically, the two parties are one, and you saw
a discussion between the two,
like the vice president and the president just kind of talking about things,
right?
And towards the end here, they all gang up on. Let me see. They all gang up on the poor guy when they talk about migration. I think it's hits right here.
They work. I think that the decision of the European Court of Justice is very positive, based on...
So what he just said was he think the European Court of Justice came down against Poland and Hungary
for not taking in the migrants.
And to his credit, I know some of the comments, I read through them a little bit. Some of the people from Poland were upset with his performance. He wasn't able to speak as loudly.
It's difficult when it's not your first language,
I know,
though.
I know, but it was pretty much 5 against 1 for him. But he did say, I don't think we're looking at a refugee crisis. We're looking at an invasion. And everybody got really upset at him.
Even John, let's have him finish first and then react, all right?
Here, hang on, let me back it up a little bit.
I'm not.
I want to hear what he is. Sorry, I thought it was at minute 30. Okay.
Mr. Zlotowski, this has been one of the major issues in Europe for the last 2 years, where the countries are definitely, or many countries, not on the same page, and Poland being very against taking in refugees. Now, does the situation in Poland, does your stance towards Germany change with the decision of the European Court of Justice saying it's okay to force member states to take in refugees?
It's not okay to force anybody to anything in United Europe. You cannot force.
But this is a legal system, and this is a legal decision.
And there is a question about the migration. Is it a migration or is it an invasion?
An invasion? Come on.
Yes.
You know, the numbers.
You can have a social state, and you can have open borders, but you cannot have them both.
Who is talking about open borders?
We have open borders now.
Come on, how dare you say this? I mean, this is fake news. Come on, this is fake news. Stop it.
No, it is not. We cannot control European borders now. We are not able to this, and we should.
You mean there's too many Ukrainians coming into Poland? That's what you mean?
It's easier to control private
so far
than border.
Even John.
Let's have him finish first and then react, all right?
If we can control.
If millions of people have gotten through your border, you have open borders. And the rest of the people in the EU are like, no,
they're just their heads in their
they're just getting through the cracks.
Borders, why
Big
there
cracks.
are so plenty of
You
migrants
have
in
to
Greece or
distinguish
in
between irregular migration.
So what's interesting is he doesn't have the part of the Italy 5-star movement here. This is stacked against the poor guy, okay? So you got this Greece guy here, which is very interesting to see this round table, honestly. You got the Greek guy there saying it's not true. What you're trying to tell me? The migrants aren't coming and fleeing, and we have the video surveillance. We see the video
Greece,
into Greece and Italy.
At the worst.
All right, and let's start with Ms. Pajon and then go over to you.
I mean, first of all, today's decision of the European Court, I think, has a very, very significant meaning. The countries that are not doing solidarity approach, and it's very wrong to say that there is an invasion. Let us talk about the numbers.
But what
1
is the
million
solidarity?
So I feel for the Poland guy, and she's, she hits him, and they all hit him, and I gotta tell you, the one from Ireland, man, I gotta tell you, you guys have like super socialists over there in Europe. Like, you guys are like
what
these
happens
people.
When you're a super socialist is you're a communist.
It's just a really sad state. I mean, like, we have some socialism, but they hide in the closet. I mean, Bernie Sanders comes out a little bit. Elizabeth Warren comes out a little bit.
It's like Horatio said, though. They're all socialists. It's kind of a baseline.
I know.
Everybody's a socialist. If you get above that, then you start turning into a commie. But you just, for our American viewers, they need to understand that pretty much all of Europe is socialism.
Like, left of Bernie Sanders. Seriously, I mean,
even the right-leaning people still want their socialized medicine.
However, you do see people coming and waking up to, wait a minute, I want a vote. Guess what, guys? In socialism, you don't really get a vote. When you have a European Union, I heard the Ireland representative say, well, I'm going to get the number wrong, but 8 to 10 representatives, I think, from Ireland to the European Union. And everybody conceded that Germany holds the cards. They're the deck dealer, and they're dealing their own cards. They're the dealer, and they're playing, too, and they're the shuffler of the cards as well. They pick the cards, they shuffle the cards, deal the cards, and they play the game, and they tell you all the rules to the game. and they're the Nazis. So the Nazis are still in control of Europe, and the only reason people are going along with this is because of the Prussian education system, which brainwashes you, and us too, to go along with the state and to think of yourself as a number, to think of each country in terms of economic output rather than personal lives.
And that's the bottom line. I know we talk about the public school system a lot, but greed is pretty much the bottom line for everyone. And you know, the Bible talks about a gift spoiling the heart. Whenever you give somebody something, they're kind of beholding to you. And so we have a lot of these countries like Poland, like Hungary, who do receive a massive amount of supplements and monetary support from the European Union. And so they're stuck, you know, like a child to the teat. They really, in order for them to leave, would mean a very harsh economic, like, just a punch in the gut. I don't know how. And so that's why they don't want to leave the European Union.
But that is also why Russia has spent years cultivating their own people, their own agriculture, so that they became exporters, so that they became, they wanted, Vladimir Putin's ideal is so that his country is completely self-sufficient, so that if anything happens, everyone in the country will be able to work and trade with it amongst each other fairly for food and clothes and everything that they need, and technology and everything that a country needs. Not every country has all of the raw materials that you need to make things. That's why we have trade agreements. That's why your government is there. Your federal government is there to help you make trade agreements, to help you procure the natural resources that you need to turn those natural resources into products that you make with your own two hands. And I've been reading a book on Chairman Mao, and what dawned on me with socialism, dawned on me that with this European Union and with communism, is that, and what's interesting is Chairman Mao he didn't really call himself in the beginning a communist. He was a socialist, and he called everybody who wasn't a socialist far right and right, which was interesting to me, the terminology there. What's missing there, it's all focused on economics, and we have that here in America, and I want us to break ourselves of the idea of GDP. You have to break yourselves of monetary output. You have to break yourselves of putting kids in school so that in 10 or 20 years you have scientists for your country or mathematicians for your country. We are not human resources. Humans aren't trees. Humans aren't animals. Humans aren't cars. Humans are humans. And our relationships with each other trump everything else. And the word that kept coming to me is under the socialist dogma, which is a dogma and it's a religion. It's a belief system. And if you stray from the socialist religion, they have a set of beliefs.
You get excommunicated.
It is a church of socialism. Don't get you wrong. If you're an atheist and you're a socialist, you have a religion and you believe in certain moral things that everyone has to do, and you will use physical violence to make people and not even think the way you think, but to do what you want them to do. The one thing you're missing there is love.
Yeah, but they think that they're loving by saying we have to help the poor, we have to give everybody health care, we have to, so it sounds, that's why they can get up there and tout things, and then you kind of wonder, like, you question yourself, because what you don't understand is it's like a child who the kidnapper comes and says, here, would you like an ice cream cone? Isn't an ice cream cone fun? But what it really is it's the sex traffickers that have kidnapped you, hooked you onto drugs, use you, pimp you out, and then you keep coming back and say, yes, give me more heroin, and then go out and do it again. Because you're now hooked into and you're jacked into the system, and you can't get out because you're addicted and you don't know how to function on your own. But they do it all under the guise of, here's an ice cream cone, you will want this, you need this is us helping you. But really all it is them taking you and plugging you and chaining you to the system so that you can't ever get out again.
Right. The only way for each country in Europe to succeed, and we're talking about the German elections today, and this is our UK Europe segment, and the one thing that we want to come, and if you don't want to hear this, then maybe Sundays at 1 isn't for you. But we believe 1,000,000,000% that Europe is in a state of slavery, and that we are going to preach the freeing of the slaves,
right?
As long as there's any tyranny against your mind,
right?
Your mind. I want you to be free to think your own thoughts. Rousseau, in the French Revolution, another deadbeat, by the way. Just know this: all communists are extremely lazy, and most socialists are very lazy. They want something for nothing, and they want other people to have something for nothing. Whereas our country in America was founded by people who were willing to leave everything and to die in the wilderness even,
and start out with nothing so that they could get something.
To not just have a sovereign country, just to be sovereign within one's self.
Right.
That whatever I do in my life, I hope I have a community there to help me. Christians build communities that comes from your heart. It comes from your spirit. But if you're compelled to give at the point of a gun, then your giving and your charity becomes stifled.
Now, we always say gun, but for those of you that don't understand what we mean when we say that, it's kind of like property taxes. They will come and take your house if you do not pay them. When it comes to the here in America at least, the income tax, if you do not pay them, then they can come and take you to jail.
At the point of a gun.
Exactly. So it's not like they're literally coming, it's underhandedly. So
if you don't pay your income taxes, they will come at the point of a gun.
I think the screen is fuzzy and I'm going to wipe it off.
Okay.
I know we're almost finished, but...
So, yeah,
Sorry, people.
I could keep preaching all day. Let's get on to some more news.
That's better.
Okay. This is our little commercial break for a bit of funny news. Are you ready for this? Climbers on cannabis, smoking pot, were too high.
What did they say on cannabis?
They were too high. They had to be rescued from
England's
highest mountain.
Scaffold Pike.
They were high on the high mountain. Police said words failed them after receiving a call from 4 climbers who were unable to return from Scaffold Pike.
4 climbers had to be rescued from England's highest mountain, Scaffold Pike, when they got stranded after taking cannabis or just smoking weed. Cumbria police said officers were rendered speechless after the group called in to report that they were unable to walk down the mountain in the Lake District due to cannabis pot weed use. Persons phoning Cumbria police because they were stuck on a mountain after taking cannabis, Cumbria police posted on social media, now having to deploy mountain rescue, air support, and ambulance to rescue them. Words fail us. Persons rescued by MRT after becoming incapable of walking off the mountain due to the cannabis use, a later post said. MRT volunteers putting themselves at risk to prevent harm.
It's okay.
Oh my gosh, that is absolutely fantastic.
So, do not smoke and hike. That would probably be a good thing for you to do.
However, if you do want to get high, don't smoke pot, climb a mountain. Good alternative there. You know, getting a little high.
That's a really good idea.
I like it.
That's a really good idea. This was interesting to me. I guess if you go to prison in Sweden, sometimes you can ask to go out for Freedom Day. I didn't know. We don't have that here that I know of. But, you know, Sweden really likes to take care of its criminals. So, a failed Eritrean asylum seeker, Abraham Ukbagber, murdered a woman and her son in an IKEA.
In an IKEA?
He's now demanding that he be let out of prison temporarily so he can visit McDonald's, do some shopping, get some sneakers. He is currently serving his life sentence for the double murder, but he asked for a permit which allows prisoners to leave prison on a temporary basis. Fortunately, he was denied.
Good.
He was denied. I guess he was so angry that he was... Here's the thing. If you do not give these migrants...
what they want,
they might just go off and hack somebody to death.
In jail.
In jail. All right.
Wow.
While I'm going to bring up, we can't go.
I wanted you to do
live
the
forever
that I had told you about.
I know.
I sent you that
thing
one.
I'm doing.
Oh, what do you think I'm doing? Yeah. Just got a little Snapchat there, didn't I? What do you think I'm doing? I sent you a link, though, but it doesn't matter which one you use. I'm sure. Stratford acid attack. Boy 15 held by police after noxious substance thrown during brawl at shopping center.
Start it over. Oh, wait.
Wait for it. Oh, that's weird. Do you want to read it?
Go ahead. I thought you were.
6 people have been reported injured in a suspected noxious substance attack in the area around the Stratford Center.
There was one victim that came out and spoke.
Emergency services arrived shortly before 8 p.m. amid reports of a group of men spraying what is believed to be a noxious substance. Witnesses at the scene said an argument broke out among a group of people.
Don't need guns anymore.
Just throw acid on everybody. Where's it making these acids? Okay, one man has been arrested on suspicion of causing grievous harm. A spokesman for the Metropolitan Police says the attack not being treated as terror-related. Well, if you've got acid on hand, that's terror. Who just keeps that in their pocket? I mean, in their, like, little bag or whatever.
Yeah.
That happened yesterday. I think that was last night.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
15-year-old boy was arrested.
Horatio says you have to walk through there to get to the Olympic Stadium.
Oh.
Jack Russell said all acid attackers need to get a taste of their own medicine. They are animals.
I wonder if they will release the ethnicity.
Drug dealers and gangs are using acid. Wow. Instead, and see, here in America, the drug dealers and gangs just have guns. You guys don't have that, so acid is something that they can get their hands on. Yes. And that's the thing, like they always say, you know, Cain used a rock. We don't know what Cain used, but he didn't have a gun. And so when it comes to gun control, these people will find a way. They're going to find something. It doesn't have to be a gun. So gun control doesn't exactly make sense.
Yeah, gun control doesn't exactly make sense.
Because if you're going to do something bad, you're going to find a way to do it. Like driving cars through crowds of people. That is far more effective than firing a weapon.
And what you're going to have, like in Venezuela, is the people don't have... people don't have guns. They can't really protect themselves. And the only people that have guns are the criminals and the government.
So, Archer wants to know, I just want to ask, is this stream anti-German? No. We're anti-EU, very pro-German, nationalist German, Germany, yes. Go Germany, make Germany German again. And get rid of that ring of stars, man. Like, crumble the whole thing. We're very anti-EU, very pro-Germany.
We're anti... totalitarian government. We're anti-globalists. That's why we played the video of the German woman.
Yep.
The German people themselves, I believe, the ones who vote for Merkel are brainwashed. Other people are waking up. They want their country back. They want to vote. What happened, the only way Hitler was able to come to power was because the brainwashing of the children and because he had totalitarian power. This was not a democracy. This was not everybody has a vote. This was everyone does what Hitler says. Everyone does. The media is controlled. We would love to see, and we're praying for, a free, open democracy. You know, the spirit of, you know, Martin Luther coming back up. And not, Martin Luther didn't want to destroy the Catholic Church, and the people in Germany don't want to destroy their government. Most people are good people, and they want to do what's right. But they need the truth, and if the truth has been held from you and withheld from you.
Right.
So we want to try to bring to you the truth on the European Union. When we say the Nazis founded the European Union, unless you're a Nazi, you are not, you're actually being controlled. The same thing with the communist Chinese. Do you know how many communist Chinese people who spoke out in the beginning were just massively killed? Just randomly, if you said anything against it, you're just killed. And Germany has become this bastion against free speech. Anything against Islam now is hate speech. Anything. That Islam and Muslims can say anything, pretty much, you know, within reason.
So Archer had said that, I'm guessing it's a he is pro-EU, anti-Merkel. So we are very happy to have you here in our feed. I'm going to guess that you are a new viewer. because you're asking these questions. Really, really great questions. So as far as the EU goes, he was asking for, and I'm going to give you a very short explanation.
Well, I'll just give him a link and he can kind of read it particularly. Go to www.eu-facts.org and spend several days. You can look at the documents yourself, but quickly, these men here, Bayer, BASF, Hauscht, and other chemical pharmaceutical nationalities formed IG Farben.
And they're the ones that created the chemicals and the gas chambers that gassed the Jews.
And these particular men in these companies were some of them were put in jail for the Nuremberg trials. They came out. They got their positions back in their companies. They came out and they helped to found the EU. Okay?
And they didn't just help to found it. It was their brainchild.
Exactly.
This was you know what? Hitler failed. That didn't work. Let's do something else where we can actually brainwash the people into doing what we want instead of having to go in at the point of a gun. So we don't have time to cover this all over again because we've already done episodes on this. But just to give you a brief, the ideal of the European Union may seem good to some. But when you look at its roots and you actually see the things that they want to accomplish, that it is very sinister, it is very evil, it is not about multiculturalism.
Let me give you an example. You may have heard of our Federal Reserve. And I love if you're still here. We have a thing called the Federal Reserve, and so pretty much everything runs in the world off of our dollar. Our dollar bill has been devalued since the inception of the Federal Reserve. Now, in the early 1900s, Congress was looking to put a lid on the banks because they were operating in some sketchy ways. So what happened was, and you can find this in a book, it's called The Creature of Jekyll Isle by G. Edward Griffin, one of my heroes. These are all facts laid out. Everyone knows this. Dr. Ron Paul lays this out like pretty much every day. These are facts that the very bankers that were causing the trouble, the very bankers that were messing with the markets, heard that Congress was going to regulate them. So instead they met on an island off of Georgia called Jekyll Isle in a very secret manner, and they came up with an idea and said, instead of Congress regulating us, we'll go to Congress, we'll tell Congress how we'll regulate ourselves. And ever since then, the Federal Reserve was created. 1912, they put in a patsy president called Woodrow, his name was Woodrow Wilson, and they passed the Federal Reserve and our income tax back to back during a December Christmas session when nobody was there. And since that inception, the Federal Reserve has done more to damage monetary policy. That's where we get our foreign wars from and things like that. So you have the very people who should have been monitored becoming the great monitors. And literally, I'm going to tell you this. There is no government agency above the Federal Reserve.
And they're not even a government agency.
And they're not a government agency.
They're a private entity.
They
have nothing to do with the federal government. They have nothing to do with the government whatsoever.
No one can look at their records. No one can audit them. There is no one higher. Not even the president. The president can't even get an audit on the Federal Reserve. There's no one higher in our government than the Federal Reserve, but they're not even a government.
We hired them to print our money, and then they became untouchable. All right, we have to move on.
Okay.
Because we got to wrap up for the day.
So the EU, I'm putting this together with the EU, the European Union, with Germans. The Germans should have been, unfortunately, for a time, on the bottom. Obviously, taking over the world doesn't give you a place to rule the world yet again. Okay, we're in 2017. Why are we talking about this now? It's kind of like with slavery. We didn't have reparations and things like that. The Germans jumped right in the 1950s and said, oh, we're back in leadership. Less than 10 years after this giant war, there was no period of mourning, no period of weeding out all of the Nazis. The Nazis got into power. And so what you have is this conglomeration that is literally, if you're pro-EU, you have to recognize that Germany runs the entire European Union, and it's unfair, and it's undemocratic. So, there you have it.
All right, what else? What other stories do you have for us to wrap up with?
Okay, Hungary blasts the mainstream media for claiming Soros' plan for mass migration into Europe doesn't exist. The Hungarian government has hit back at the mainstream media for claiming that the Soros plan to open up Europe to mass immigration is an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. The Financial Times, the salmon pink establishment newspaper, which is considered part of the unofficial uniform for city bankers and financiers in London, and which is noted for its staunch support of the European Union, and the insistence that mass immigration is an unstoppable force which must be accepted. Remember, all those members of the European Union said we don't have open borders, and yet everyone will admit they can't stop the mass migration, which means you have open borders. If you can't stop it, it's open. They took aim at the Hungarian leader Viktor Orban for challenging billionaire open borders campaigner George Soros. George Soros wants open borders across the whole world. He wants chaos. It says Soros' hatred is a global sickness. Remember, George Soros, you guys can look back at an interview he had, that he was a Jew. And they came into Hungary and they took all of his family, all of his friends, all his neighbors. His dad bribed a German officer to say that his son was his son. He was a Christian, and then he was a Jew. And he said that he went around with the German officer, grabbing all the stuff, going into his neighbor's home, grabbing it, stealing it for the German Reich. And he said he learned he learned everything he learned in life from that time, and it was one of the happiest times of his life.
And he has since said if he wasn't the one that was doing it, someone else would have been.
And he smiled and laughed about it. He said it's just like the stock markets. If somebody else isn't treating people on the stock markets, if it wasn't me, it would be somebody else. So I might as well be the one. Viktor Orban came back and said, "Hey, no, this is a real thing." Dr. Kovacs says. Reminds readers that Prime Minister Orban has addressed the genuineness of the Soros plan before. It's not something we've made up, he told Hungarian radio. We didn't reach this conclusion through divination, but the architect of the plan published it himself. He goes on to point out that indeed, at the end of September 2015, Soros published an article in his own name entitled, wait for it, George Soros, here's my plan to solve the asylum chaos. While Soros spokesman Michael Vakon insists Soros' position is entirely consistent with mainstream European values, yay, the claim that Soros is promoting a scheme to import 1 million illegal immigrants into Europe is Viktor Orban's fantasy, although it is happening right now. So here they are smearing legitimate criticism of mass migration, and they're saying that is an anti-Semitic thing to do.
Wow.
So I wanted to put that out there. Hungary and Poland are the only ones standing together. In Austria, a lawyer refuses to defend an Afghan 18 who killed his sister 14. She says, I'm not the right lawyer to defend him. It was, I believe, an honor killing. Yeah, here's the article which talked about Angela Merkel saying that she is Mutti, she's mother pretty much of all of Europe in her own eyes. You happy about that? You haven't Merkel as your mom. Not me. This was another one that everybody's up in arms in right now. Look like it's not coming up, but Breitbart has the article. Hijab is part of the uniform in nearly half of the Islamic schools in England as young as 4 years old.
I'm pretty sure almost all of our viewers know why that's not okay, but for those of you that do not know, the hijab is kind of a sexualization. What it does is it represents you are now a woman and you have to be covered
to shield you from the lust of men.
Thank you. And so the fact that, and so it is kind of like a marking, right? Like it used to be, well, when a little girl would wear her hair up and she turned, 14 or whatever, that sort of thing. So what they've done is they're saying that these 4-year-olds have to wear the hijab as part of and it doesn't make any sense. Even in their culture and their society, this is not something that the little girls are supposed to have to do. So they're over-sexualizing
little girls by saying, a little girl wants to run around and jump and play. Listen, we get our little things out every single time we talk about hijabs. Because for the way that they wear them, this is a small little scarf. The way that they wear them over their heads, around the things,
covering their face.
They cover, and then a lot of times you cover your face, you can't breathe. For a little girl to run around. It's not a headscarf, okay? Headscarves are one thing.
Very restricting.
Headscarves are nice and you can wear them, but the hijab itself covers your neck.
The neck. You
it
can't
covers
show any of your hair. Your hair can't show.
It's not a fashion statement. It's and the fact that your neck and everything, you can't breathe. So for a little girl, what I'm trying to say to you, the freedom of movement is restricted. This is a basic human right.
And so when you're in the UK, I feel the same way. They're trying to do these kinds of things in the United States over my dead body. But in the UK, you would think that if you're going to come into Great Britain or the United Kingdom, anywhere, you should be able to have the same rights as a human being and be protected by the government in those rights. But what the government is saying, you know what? Those little girls are protected and they're not forced to wear, you know, the British look, but you are not protected.
To give you the numbers, there are 59 schools that they're aware of in the United Kingdom that the hijab head covering is compulsory. You can't come to school. Now, 8 of those schools are state funded, and 3 of those are primary schools serving children as young as 4.
Wow.
Examples of school uniform policy reported by the newspaper lay bare just how prescriptive the rules can be, requiring girls to cover up much more than just their hair. Some of them, one says their faces must be covered outside. We have done this. You can't breathe. This is not acceptable for children.
So here's my question, because this really does talk about it. It's a religious clothing. It says no child should be obligated to wear the hijab or any other article of religious clothing while at school. And so here in
especially
the United States,
a sexualized religious
I don't
clothing.
know if you guys have the equivalent of it, but we do have the separation of church and state. And so some of these schools are funded by the state, and so it's shocking to me that they are allowing a religious type of thing to be enforced.
Another headline here, you guys. I'll just read it. In a North African Brussels police officer is detained for leaking intel on raids and patrols 2 terrorism suspects. And this was, I think I'll end with that. I'll come back up to this is how, you know, Germany can't be ended by crazy people coming in. And remember, during the interview I was showing you guys with all the different roundtable, they showed migrants coming in, women and children, and the Irish representative said, "I'm glad that you showed that all the women and the children." And I'm just like, do you not watch TV? Do you not have the internet? Because there may be one woman or 2, but when you look, it's all young males of fighting age. Security officers forbidden to go to parts of a Swedish city. That happens pretty much every day. South Africa, Muslim twins plotted jihad attacks on Jewish institutions. Interesting for Saudi Arabia is allowing women into the sports stadium for the first time.
Wow, they can actually watch sports now. Oh my gosh, you can actually go to a sporting event if you're a woman. That's real. That's real women's rights. They're pushing it forward, man.
And you still have to wear the hijab. You still have to have your face covered. Yeah. Islamic State propagandist who arrived as a child refugee is jailed in the UK. His name is Hussein Yosef. He came as a child migrant, was jailed for 6.5 years on Friday after becoming a propagandist for the Islamic State. He arrived in the UK at age 14 as an asylum seeker and was in the care of foster parents in Oxford. He is a supporter of the Islamic State and was jailed for terrorism related. It doesn't say. It says he was in the care of foster parents in the UK, so he's 20 years old and still in this foster care. Do you have perpetual children? Do you give them bottles or something?
Oh my gosh,
I just don't understand. In 2015, after his asylum application had been rejected and all avenues for appeal were closed, the fast food shop worker used Facebook to share names and email addresses of 56 military personnel. Oh, this is the information included addresses of homes in the U.S. as well as military bases in Hawaii, North Carolina, and Virginia. So this, I guess, was a little bit ago. So the Islamist gained the list of information hacked by a group calling itself Cyber Caliphate Army.
He added hashtags that said U.S. Army pigs completely hacked and wrote all praise to Allah alone.
So they did put him... also on Friday, 18-year-old Iraqi asylum seeker Ahmed Hassan was charged with attempted murder and using chemical compound.
They always call it chemical compound, TATP, to cause an explosion, likely.
I wanted to put this. I wanted you guys to know this. Maybe you already do. Did you know that Mohammed is now the top baby name in all of London, and number 2 in all of England?
Here's the problem I have with that, and I'm going to go back
to it. Sorry, it's not Mohammed, it's Mohammed.
Here's the thing, guys. That I have no problem with what the AFD had put up with the, we're going to make our own babies. Y'all, people got to understand. It's not just that the names are more popular, okay? Because I'm going to just take a stab in the dark here. And I'm going to say that non-Muslims are not naming their child Muhammad. Do you think that's fair enough to say? So if the most popular baby name in London, and then the second most popular name in all of the UK is Muhammad, then here's the fast facts for you guys. Not all of those Muslims are naming their children Muhammad, so they're actually having even more children than just the Muhammad. So y'all people are going to be outdone.
Well, remember this. They spell it 100 different ways, right? So you've got Muhammad, Muhammad, and Mohammed. If you put them all together, that would be the most popular name in all of the UK.
We need a massive Make More UK Babies campaign. I mean, we are talking huge. It has to go viral. You people, Horatio, I have had enough of your singleness. You are instructed to go make babies. Every single one of our UK viewers, if you are single, I don't care if you're 55 years old and your wife is still, if she still can't have babies, y'all people, I don't care if your kids are grown, go make more UK babies. I don't care what color of skin you are. This is not a race thing, all right? It's a national thing. You are instructed. Justin Hughes, worth a look. Single, not having children. Get married, make them right now. Instructed.
So here you have it back down here. You had a few in 1920, 1940.
No.
It's moving up.
I'm not okay. I'm not okay with this.
1985 and I guess the most popular is Muhammad, which is the most popular right now. So I just thought I'd share that with you. Now, I'd love to see this over and over again. This is Merkel saying, do not wave the German flag. We're going to play this a couple times. Ready? What are you doing? What are you doing? Give me that. Give me that. No, 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 no. No, what are you doing? What are you doing, you idiot? You don't raise... Do it again. Ready? No, 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 no. That's your muti there. Do what your muti says. We are not waving the German flag here on this stage. One more time, just to get an idea of who Merkel is.
I don't have words. I do not.
Nope, let's wave the German flag. No, no, taking that away. No, we don't want that. Nope. You know what? Just burn it while you're at it. No,
look at her face there.
No. Yeah, play that face. Just put that face right there. That's what she thinks of Germany.
Oh my gosh.
And no, 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 no. And so when people say nationalistic ideals,
if you can actually hate your country, that's okay. If you love your country, not okay.
And it's all a ruse, okay? It's the idea of global domination. So there is some good news. Eurosceptic poised to take yeah. Why is my internet not bringing up my article? And you know what? This does happen with a lot of these particular articles. Sometimes if you do it twice, Google says fine. If you want to open it, you can open it.
We do have to wrap up shortly.
EU's new threat, the Eurosceptic posed for victory in Czech elections next month. The Eurosceptic Andrej Babis is expected to seize power in the Czech Republic's elections next month. That would be a crushing blow for Brussels. I have great hope for the Czech Republic. The 63-year-old former finance minister has taken a strong line against what he sees as the European Union's ever-growing grasp of power, and now looks set to become the country's next leader. He is a billionaire. He sounds like a Donald Trump. We don't want the euro here. It gives Brussels another area of meddling, despite the country appearing to benefit from European Union membership and is the richest of the former countries once under the Soviet bloc. And living standards are better there than Greece and Portugal, because obviously this is what's important. Nobody talks about love, right? Nobody talks about their family relationships. Kids love their parents more. Their parents are spending more time with their children.
Right.
You never hear about these things, do you?
No.
You know? And you don't really want to go to Japan. I need a whole segment on Japan. They are the most miserable country on the face of the planet. Their love is a computer screen or a comic book. It's absolutely insidious. And that was the acid attack. Street blocked off here in France for a Muslim prayer because there's not enough room. Do Christians do
make
this?
A statement.
I know, and that's what I wanted to tell somebody. I got in a little argument on Twitter. I don't do much on Twitter, but get my articles out there that I'm going to read for you guys. But somebody was upset because there was a Muslim who got on the back of his taxi cab and did his Muslim prayer, and I said, we don't need to do that because my God can hear me wherever I'm at. I don't need to be out there where everybody can see me. I sit on the back of my cab, you know. I don't need to be out here with a jukebox. Holla, holla, Allah, Allah. You know, I don't need
so
this.
Here's the
it's
thing, though. If there are not enough mosques to house the number of people that need to do their prayers throughout the day, how many of them are there? Because there are sure as heck a ton of mosques. Almost all the churches are turning into mosques.
This is
so if you don't have enough mosques,
you can call me anti-immigrant, you can call me anti-Muslim, all that you want. But this is a form of war.
And we do have to go. Mom's telling us we have to go.
We have to go. Okay. One last video to sum it all up to save Europe. Sorry, guys. We have to go. We have to go. All right. This is it. Our society will change. Our city will radically change. I'm of the opinion that in 20 or 30 years, from then on, we will not have any ethnic majorities anymore in our city, and that our city is based on the fact that we have many different ethnicities, many people, that we will have a super cultural society, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about how our country will look in 20 or 30 years. It will become younger. Just how great is that? For how long have we talked about demography? It will become colorful. How beautiful is that? And probably it will become less religious. I guarantee that won't happen. Of course. Well, from my point of view, I want to say that our former
Buddhist president,
that Islam belongs to Germany, and that is so. I share that same opinion.
What the president said on October 3rd is that Islam belongs to Germany. It has in Germany literally opened doors.
And these are victims. We accept it. The number of crimes among the migrant youth is especially high. Pictures that leave one speechless, raw violence without reason and unpredictable.
Oh my God.
Finish him in the face. On one hand, we have a country that is open for migrants and a country that attracts migrants, which we, by the way, do need urgently, not just skilled laborers, but we need those people
that are at home in our social system and, yes, feel at home. And yes, our country will change, and drastically so. And I tell you all, I am looking forward to that. Look at these virtue signals. Man, okay, that was actually really painful to watch. Dang it, that's happy. Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day.
When Jesus washed.
When Jesus washed.
When my Jesus washed.
When Jesus washed.
He washed my sins.